The backstitch. This stitch is created with a single threaded needle, meaning that only one end of the thread is involved in the knot. You begin again at the side of the fabric that is your dominant hand, so I'll be working from right to left across the fabric. The backstitch is the strongest of hand stitches. In fact, it is what was used to create garments before the sewing machine. Insert your needle near the edge of your fabric and take up one small stitch. Pull that stitch all the way so that the knot is now sitting on the fabric on the same side as the needle. Where the stitch gets its name is through the operation. You take your needle back to its previous position. So in this case, back to the knot. Now I'm going to take a larger stitch so that my needle is coming out in front of where the thread is on my fabric. Pull this stitch up. Unlike the running stitch, we are not able to load our needle with stitches on the back stitch. So now I'm ready to take another stitch. I take my needle back to where the thread previously came out, take another stitch so that the thread that is currently coming out of the fabric is about halfway through that stitch. I repeat this process going back and taking a stitch, bringing my needle out in front of the thread. Do this until you've gotten all the way across your sample with a nice straight line of even stitches. The stitch gets its strength from two things. One is the size of the stitch, keeping it small. The other is the fact that there are actually 2 layers of thread being used in each stitch, which I will show you in just a moment as I get a few more done here. So back and stitch. Back to the previous position and stitch. So on the front side that you were looking at, you should have a row of end-to-end stitches. On the back, when you flip it over, if you look closely, you'll see that each stitch has an extra thread laying across it. That's part of the strength. All right, I'll do a few more here, and then I will tie off. You, of course, will do your whole sample across there. But when you're ready to tie off, this is what you should do. Your needle must be on the same side as the stitches. Turn your sample so that it is perpendicular to your lap. Go to your previous position, so where the thread or the last stitch is fully formed. Take your anchor stitch right there, which will form your last stitch. Take your tie-off stitch, which is very small, right where the anchor stitch was. Pull your thread up, but leave a loop. Pass your needle through the loop. Hold firmly the fabric between your thumb and fingers underneath the fabric and pull. So now your knot is in between 2 stitches and it looks nice and neat. That's the back stitch.